So this is going to be the substrate. So this is just a bunch of paper that I have ripped up. You don't have to rip it up. I like ripping it up because I can smush it in the bags a little bit more easily when it's in a smaller form. But you can see here we have more, just any old pieces of paper that you have. I've taken some coffee grounds from the past day, and we're just going to soak it really quickly in here. This is my bag with all the stuff that we can use next time around. This will be probably enough for at least one bag today. And you can also see that I'm keeping a lot of old like filler from boxes that come. This is great. It's made out of paper. I also have some chips, wood chips from small animal bedding that I can use. In terms of if you're using sawdust or wood chips, you just want to make sure that it's not heavily oiled. Like eucalyptus, for example, is not a good one to use, but any other kind pretty much will work fine. So now that this has water in it, okay, we'll let it soak for a little bit. Okay, so here is our block of spawn. So this I purchased from a company. This is pearl oyster mushroom spawn. This is in sawdust. Sometimes it's made with grain, so you can see grain. But basically this has been inoculated by the mushroom vendors with the mushroom spores. And you can see it's white here. You'll see, so this is the mycelium that's running through this block, right? And so what I'm gonna do, and it hasn't like sprouted yet. We don't see any mushrooms growing out of it. So what we do is take some of this, put it in with our substrate here, and just let it sit, and it will do the same thing. It will start to run through, mycelium will start to run through the substrate that we've created in the bags, and then we'll get mushrooms. So I'll go ahead and show you how to do that. You don't have to use Ziploc bags. You can use almost anything. I have some other examples I'll pull out, but there's nothing like scientific about this. Grab some spawn and throw it in. Shake it out a little bit. So there we go. Break it up. And then take some of this, mix it up a little bit, wring it out. I should say that. You want it to be wet and damp, but you don't want it to be sopping wet. Like it will not grow underwater. So, and then just do it in here. And then you'll want to repeat the process. Put a little bit more in. So I'll probably put 2 or 3 layers, but you can see that I've got paper and cardboard in here from all types of things, from junk mail to boxes to packaging, and we just stuff it all in here. Okay, so here is our Ziploc bag that's been stuffed. You can see, maybe you can't see the spawn in here, but there are layers of spawn. And so what I do next is I'll put the date on here once I get inside, and then I'm gonna poke a few holes. I poke the holes on the date side. The holes allow more, and just note that I really squish this down, right? Because what you want to be able to do is to make it compact enough that the mycelium can jump from one place to the next. I like having lots of different textures because I feel like it promotes a little more air bubbles, because you do need to have oxygen in here too for it to breathe, the mushrooms. But we're going to poke a few holes, and the holes are where more than likely the mushrooms are going to come out. So if I put the date on the side that has the holes, then I know which side is up. You could put holes anywhere though. No reason why it's just on one side. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay. All right, so this is one from a couple weeks ago that I made, and you can see the white here. So the mycelium is starting to run. Right here you can actually see some of the spore from the block that we have here. But you can see it's starting to go through some of the other substrate, other paper that we have in here. You see the same thing here. So what I'm doing specifically is just, I want to keep kind of having a handful of these maybe every month that I'll make, so that I have a steady supply of mushrooms. Okay. And notice that I am not worried about bacteria or anything like that. I mean, if you're doing some kind of a production where you're selling it, you might have to worry about it. But for home growers like me, it's just like a garden. Like, don't worry about that. Okay, one more thing to note. So I've used Ziploc bags. I like them. It's a good size. They're easy to like throw around, move around if you need to. You can see through it, so you can see the mycelium starting to run. Small ones work just as well. I use ones that have been used before. So again, just like using old things that are around for recycling to become the substrate, you can use used Ziploc bags. Other options are some of these buckets. They already have some holes in them, so where the holes are is where the mycelium will grow. You could just layer it. You could also poke a few extra holes in here. Another option would be something like this coffee bag. It'll grow right through this. It'll start to eat this after a while too. So that's also an option. And I've used jars where obviously it comes from the top. I don't find this to be quite as versatile as other things, but this is also an option.